Hello everybody, this is l.20 speaking from home. I'm going to give you a quick reading of the first text in your Midsummer Night's Dream play. I'm using the Arden Midsummer Night's Dream version, but obviously you may use any version that you have available. So I'm going to start reading at line 20. Aegeus starts, obviously I'm going to read all the parts, so I'll say their names before they read. So just to help you with the pronunciation, I'm going to be reading up until with duty and desire we follow you, which is about line 125. Okay, well, let's have a go then. Aegeus: happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. Theseus: thanks, good Aegeus. What's the news with thee? Aegeus: full of vexation come I, with complaint against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius. My noble lord, this man hath my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander. And my gracious duke, this hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child. Thou hast by moonlight at her window sung, with feigning voices, verses of feigning love, and stolen the impression of her fantasy with bracelets of thy hair, rings, gauds, conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegays, sweetmeats, messengers of strong prevailment in an hardened youth. With cunning hast thou filched my daughter's heart, turned her obedience, which is due to me, to stubborn harshness. And, my gracious duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace consent to marry with Demetrius. I beg the ancient privilege of Athens. As she is mine, I may dispose of her, which shall either be to this gentleman or to her death, according to our law immediately provided in that case. Theseus: what say you, Hermia? Be advised, fair maid. To you your father should be as a god, one that composed your beauties, yea, and one to whom you are but as a form in wax, by him imprinted, and within his power to leave the figure or disfigure it. Demetrius is a worthy gentleman. Hermia: so is Lysander. Theseus: in himself he is, but in this kind, wanting your father's voice, the other must be hailed the worthier. Hermia: I would my father look but with my eyes. Theseus: rather your eyes must with his judgment look. Hermia: I do not entreat your grace to pardon me. I know not by what power I am made bold, nor how it may concern my modesty, in such a presence here to plead my thoughts, but I beseech your grace that I may know the worst that may befall me in this case, if I refuse to wed Demetrius. Theseus: either to die the death or to abjure for ever the society of men. Therefore, fair Hermia, question your desires, know of your youth, examine well your blood, whether if you yield not to your father's choice, you can endure the livery of a nun, for I to be in shady cloister mewed, to live a barren sister all your life, chanting faint hymns to the cold fruitless moon. Thrice blessed they that master so their blood to undergo such maiden pilgrimage, but earthlier happier is the rose distilled than that which, withering on the virgin thorn, grows, lives, and dies in single blessedness. So will I grow, so live, so die, my lord, this is Hermia, ere I will yield my virgin patent up unto his lordship, whose unwished yoke my soul consents not to give sovereignty. Theseus: take time to pause, and by the next new moon, the sealing day twixt my love and me, the everlasting bond of fellowship, upon that day either prepare to die for disobedience to your father's will, or else to wed Demetrius, as he would, or on Diana's altar to protest for austerity and single life. Demetrius: relent, sweet Hermia, and Lysander, yield thy crazed title to my certain right. Lysander: you have her father's love, Demetrius. Let me have Hermia's. Do you marry him? Aegeus: scornful Lysander, true he hath my love, and what is mine my love shall render him, and she is mine, and all my right of her I do estate unto Demetrius. Lysander: I am, my lord, as well derived as he, as well possessed. My love is more than his, my fortunes every way as fairly ranked, if not with vantage, as Demetrius's. And, which is more than all these boasts can be, I am beloved of beauteous Hermia. Why should I not then prosecute my right? Demetrius, I'll avouch it to its head, made love to Nida's daughter Helena, and won her soul. And she, sweet lady, dotes, devoutly dotes in idolatry upon this spotted and inconstant man. Theseus, I must confess I have heard so much, as with Demetrius thought to have spoke thereof, but being overfull of self-affairs, my mind did lose it. But Demetrius, come, and come Aegeus, you shall go with me. I have some private schooling for you both. For you, fair Hermia, look you arm yourself to fit your fancies to your father's will, or else the law of Athens yields you up, which by no means we may extenuate, to death, or to a vow of single life. Come, my Hippolyta, what cheer, my love? Demetrius and Aegeus go along. I must employ you in some business against our nuptial, and confer with you of something nearly that concerns yourselves. Aegeus, with duty and desire, we follow you. Okay, so that's our first reading of Act 1, Scene 1. It's the incipit scene. We see the problems that pop up in this first scene. So what I suggest you do now is to pause the video and to pick it up when you've read the passage over again to yourself and looked for the major topics, the major themes that come out in this first reading of Act 1, Scene 1, from line 20 to 127. So pause now and pick me up in a few minutes' time. Okay, well, that was a short pause, so if you're back, this is something that you will have read over and over again, perhaps in a group if you're lucky enough to have people around you to read it with you. We have, obviously, the problem here that we have a triangle. Two men love one woman. You may have felt something of this yourself, who knows? But it's a very modern problem. This is a very modern play. We have the problem then of the two suitors vying for Hermia's hand. Hermia is in love with Lysander and not in love with Demetrius, but Demetrius has Papa, Aegeus, on his side, and he brings the problem before Theseus. One of the big themes here then is authority. We have authority from the father, Aegeus. We have the authority of the state, represented by Theseus. And we have the authority almost of the cosmos, which conspires. Shakespeare kept well away from religion, but this conspires to plead in favour of Demetrius, who wants to win the hand of the woman he loves. You obviously know what will happen. This is the muddle, the confusion the play will start with, and the problem which will have to be solved for it all to work out nicely. This play was written for a wedding, to distract, entertain the guest at a wedding. So therefore, it's not unusual that it should revolve around the problem of love and marriage. Another theme here then is the idea of the women speaking up. Shakespeare was extremely keen on strong-minded women and wrote a lot of strong-minded women in his plays. Hermia stands out against her father. She stands out against Theseus. She stands out against the two men, and she refuses to be beaten down, browbeaten by any of them, and is trying to find a solution to the problem that is in front of them. Theseus, of course, has his mind on his own wedding to Hippolyta. He is due to wed Hippolyta in 4 days' time, so the problem of Hermia's suitors has to be resolved by then. He represents not only the civil law, but also being a figure of mythology, Theseus and the Minotaur. Has the authority of not exactly a god, but a mythological figure. Shakespeare relied heavily on the knowledge that the readers and, in fact, playgoers would have of the mythology, both Greek and Roman mythology. They would have been conversant with this because of the oral tradition, obviously being still very strong in the 16th and 17th centuries. Most people would have picked up these references to the moon goddess, to Theseus, to Hippolyta, obviously, mythological creatures both. The idea of virginity as well is well expressed, and what a present it was, likened to a flower. It's likened to the only thing that a woman could barter. You may think this is about love and romance. It's about sex and money, like many plays of Shakespeare's are. So we have the problem here of the rich worth of her virginity. That comes later in the play. Being bestowed on somebody, and once it's given, it cannot be taken back. We've got many rhetorical features here. Obviously, metaphors, extended metaphors. The description of pictorialization of Lysander underneath Hermia's window, singing songs of love. Obviously, that will make you think of Romeo and Juliet. And the idea of fun and games in the language. Look at the idea of printed, imprinted, to figure, to disfigure, to look with your eyes. Rather, your eyes must with his judgment look. Okay, we've got a nice little inversion here. And we call this an antimetabole. It's kind of crisscross between the look and the eyes, judgment, etc. You'll pick these up. The idea of sovereignty then obviously is authority, not just from the father but from the son. So my advice to you is to go through this passage, pick out some of these themes. I've given you some ideas. Obviously you will have your own, and organise them according to the plan I have on my website, l.20-127, to form 3 major points linked between them with an introduction and conclusion. This is a kind of text commentary that I would ask you to build from this passage. Okay, thank you very much. Bye all.